Hi, I'm Mara Webster with In Creative Company, and today we're joined by the wonderful Jana Morrison to talk all about the SyFy show Astrid and Lilly Save the World, in which she plays the titular role of Astrid. And I wanted to start by asking about your audition for this role, and what kind of your first impressions of the character were, and some of the preparation work that you would do before you would even go into auditioning.
Yeah, of course. So this is a really fun part of the whole getting cast process. Like it's the initial, it's the first thing you'll ever really get. So my agent sent me a breakdown of what the show was, what the character was, and I wish I had the character description right here, but basically Astrid is a bold, smart, confident girl who loves science and who's also a bigger girl. And that's the point where I was like, love this. She's a hero and she is not of a small size, like I can just be myself and not have any like weird social pressures to feel like I need to fit a certain superhero role. It was just like a young teenage girl who's confident herself, who's also a little bit of an outcast with her best friend. And I really like connected with that. And um, basically we got two scenes. The first scene was a scene with Lily. Well, both of them were with Lily. And it was a really fun scene where we are patrolling one of the areas where my crush lives and this other person that I thought we didn't like together. We both patrol the neighborhood and we want to check out to see what the cool kids do at night. And we love patrolling and figuring out what they're doing that we're not doing so we can be cooler and hopefully gain more friends, gain more popularity. And we just like to take notes and figure all that out. So it was kind of a scene like that. It was quite long. And at the end, nobody told us to stop. So like in my training, I'll just keep going until you tell me to stop. So I just kept going with an improv, which I really love doing. And they kept this scene going for a long time. And I was like, when are they gonna make me stop? But I'll just keep going because it's really fun. And it was great to like create this character that is of essentially my essence also. It's not just an Astrid. I'm putting myself into her. So yeah, basically that first audition happened. I didn't hear anything for quite a long time. And I should preface this by saying a few months before this audition, I kind of came to the conclusion. I was like, I don't think I can play 16 anymore. But then this audition came. I was like, okay, well, I'm getting these auditions, so let's just do it. And yeah, so then I got a call back, and that was really just like an amazing step for me as an actor because I've been working at this for a long time, and just to want to be seen again by the casting directors was really touching to me. And I worked really hard and getting coachings from my mentor. And yeah, so I got this call back and I had to read with four other Lilies just to see connections, this and that. And eventually, like my agent called me and she said that I booked it. And that was really amazing because it was also on my mom's birthday. And yeah, it was just really sweet. And after that, we had to do some more chemistry reads with four other Lilies. And that was kind of nice to just not have the pressure of, I need to do my best. I just need to be there for whoever this Lily is going to be. And so I just try to make her comfortable. And I guess they eventually picked a beautiful young actor named Sam O'Coin. And she is just such a bubbly, sweet, supportive, really good friend now.
That's so wonderful to hear how that all came together. And one of the very pivotal scenes in the first episode is after they have kind of gone to one of the high school parties that they weren't necessarily invited to and been pushed out of that circle. there's the two of them, and they're making a spell that to them is kind of a joke, but just an expression of all of their frustrations. And then they discover later that that has opened up some sort of portal to another space, and that's where they end up having to save the world. But I wanted to ask about the journey for you and Sam in filming that scene, because it is such an important moment that really sets off so much of the series, and kind of some of the different versions that you maybe played around with in finding what we then see in the show.
Yeah, that's true. That scene it was one of our first scenes we filmed. And it was nighttime. And so Sam and I are both pretty new to like any sort of night shoot. So we're like, we're acting at like 1 a.m. This is like very interesting. And so that scene definitely took a long time because there was fire elements. There was an element of a camera being on top of us. So we had to play to the camera, but then also the next shots were around us. So it was a learning curve for sure. But we ended up having a really good time filming it. And we just got to like let go, just as everybody wants to, just like get whatever horrible emotions off and just yell into the world. And I found that really, how should I say? I found that really not relieving, but yeah, I guess relieving to just like yell all my insecurities that I was feeling out just into the world. And we just got into the scene. It was really fun. And I mean, I'm excited to see how it turns out because I haven't even seen it yet either.
And how did you and Sam find the comedic elements of these characters and of the show? Because there's moments where, you know, even what they're facing as their creature adversaries, you know, there's comedic elements. You know, sometimes it's that they're going up against someone who's making kids cry, and, you know, that leans a little bit more into dramatic elements. And then other times it's you're chasing a creature and having to play an oboe terribly. And so there's more of a comedic side to it. And was that something where the comedy was very clear on the page, or was there a little bit of playing around with different comedic sensibilities and seeing what really fit within the show once you were all on set?
I definitely think it was a sense of playing to see what was going to work out and just playing with different ways of delivering or even different angles of, you know, physical comedy is something that's really fun to me. And I've been learning what is funny with the camera angles also. So in character and as myself, like we took it very seriously. So there wasn't any moment where I'm like, this is a comedy beat. I just need to play it as serious as I can because I need to save my best friend. So.
And you were talking at the beginning about how the description for your character was always that she's a very confident person, and we really get that from the beginning. But it's really lovely to see, you know, a developed sense of confidence, even, you know, even just in the first few episodes, that as she kind of like conquers certain things and pushes through certain fears that she has in these situations, that she's already finding a different level and a different layer of confidence. And so how did you want to play that side of her throughout the season as that progresses for her?
I don't know. Like, I think it's just like from the first episode to the last episode, for me, it kind of just grew as I felt more confident in myself as an actor, you know? So I feel like that maybe showed within Astrid at the first episode to where she ends up in the last. As Jana, felt more comfortable in my area with the players, with Lily. So I think it just continued to grow every day in a different way.
And in working with Sam O'Coin, you know, these two characters have been best friends for years, and there's a real kind of tight-knit closeness and chemistry that comes across between the two of you. What were some of the work that the two of you did together right at the beginning, either like before you started filming the first scenes together or as you were filming those first few scenes, to really capture that? Because it goes so far beyond even just the dialogue on the page between the two of them. It's like, you know, how are they kind of pushing each other's buttons? What's the comedy that they have? You know, what's kind of like the tactile touch that they have with one another, because they're very comfortable with each other as well.
I think that, well, first off, yeah. So Sam and I didn't know each other at all, as most, most players in a show might not. And basically we just hung out all the time. And it's really lucky that we really do get along, and we find different connections all the time. But as best friends are, we're also really different. So of course there's going to be like things that she likes that I'm like about. And so really just, I think cultivating our friendship in real life is what really helped us on screen. And when we started, we also had a wonderful acting coach named Catherine McNally, and she really helped us bond together in an acting perspective. Like, what is the relationship between these two? But also just like as two girls, three women just trying to like create a beautiful relationship in this art form.
And there's some really great production details in terms of Astrid's bedroom, you know, Lily's as well, where they spend a lot of time, and whether it's Lily's poster of Mariska Hargitay from Law and Order, or whether it's, you know, Astrid's room and cutouts of guys that she's had crushes on. And so when you walked onto set and saw all the details that they'd put in place for your character, did that kind of help in adding some elements and adding some more information on her for you?
100%. It was really nice that I didn't have to make those decisions, because in my head, like, it was kind of that, but like, I'm no designer. So I'm just like really in awe of all the details they got from the script to being actually designed and put in this like actual house. So it was really beautiful to see all the details that really went into this production, because it really helped me as an actor also. Yes, my favorite was when the first time I opened the doors to my secret little boy poster hideout with my little science things. I honestly like wanted to cry, because I've never felt that moment before. So it was a really amazing feeling.
And because we do get to see your character kind of navigating, you know, a guy that she's got a huge crush on, you know, potentially talking to him, and all of those natural first steps that come at that age, at that point, did that really allow you to play the character in a different direction and find a lot of other sides to her, because you're getting to really play into the more vulnerable and uncertain side that comes with being a teenager in that space?
Of course. I think what really helped me was I really tried to get into the mindset of when I was a teenager, and just remembering the experiences I had, like to go up to a boy and say like something to him. I really had to tap into my own experience and what that like butterfly feeling felt like. And it was really nice to dig into that again. And because it has been a while since I've been in like a high school, in a high school setting, maybe not necessarily thinking about schoolwork as much as the relationships I have with the people I would like to have relationships with. So.
And when Astrid and Lilly first, you know, end up in this situation, they've opened the portal. They also have some powers, but the powers are very unconventional. You know, your character suddenly develops an incredibly strong sense of smell and smells certain things when there might be a creature or a monster nearby. And so for you, how did you navigate the space between this starting to become a part of her life, her being told by Brutus, you know, these are the details of it. This is why you're smelling these things. This is what this means. This is why you're needed and what you need to do. And then that journey of her kind of accepting it and understanding it and believing that it's real, versus the beginning when it's like, well, that just all sounds completely absurd. Everything that you're saying to me is just made up.
Exactly. And I think that whole thing ties into her trust in Brutus, because at first she doesn't trust him. What are all these things? I don't know who you're, a monster. New skills she has throughout how to find the monsters, where they are, when they're attacking. So of course she has no choice but to believe them, because they're actually happening to her. And that was a really fun process for me to like actually really try to smell what that actual smell was when the monsters were attacking, because I've never had to act like I had to smell rotten eggs in my life, or like vinegar vomit smell. So the way it made me feel mentally and physically definitely played into how she uses that in the show.
Yeah. And it sounds like you developed a really great relationship with the co-creators and the showrunners, Noelle Stem and Betsy Van Stone. What were some of the ways in which they really helped in terms of giving you character details or kind of supporting you through the process and helping you navigate certain scenes or certain moments? What were the ways in which they were the most helpful to you throughout the process?
They were, from the get-go, they were so open to saying whatever questions you have, please let us know. They were also on set almost every day. If they weren't writing the last episode, they were with us constantly. So they were a huge support as creators of the show, but also as women, because there were times where it would be really stressful and I wouldn't know if I was doing anything justice. So just being able to go up to them and be like, feeling a little stressed here. What do you guys think? They would just ease my mind in saying what you're doing is valid and great. And if they didn't like something, they would just come up to the director on set and be like, I think it actually should be a little more like this. And they wouldn't step on the director's toes or anything, but they did have, an awesome authority of this is how we want it to be. And they were just really supportive. And I felt so comfortable and not shy to ask if I had any random question.
And because this is the first time that you have a lead role in a television show, which is so fantastic, congratulations on all of that. What are the new tools that you feel that you got the opportunity to develop or really use as an actor?
I got to use so many of my skills that I've learned over the past few years that I've been training. And one I can really elaborate on is whenever there was an outdoor scene and it was like super cold there was no snow, but it was like windy, crazy, and you have to still act. I would use whatever, like my training is kind of more in movement and creating a character through movement. And I kind of just like had to move my body in different ways to keep myself alive and not cold anymore. So I kind of just use those skills and learning from being like number one in the show is just how to manage my time and what times I need to put where and how to schedule it out, because it was just different every day. And I learned that. And it was long hours every day, which I was not used to, but it was kind of like a time warp. I'm just like, okay, I'm not sleepy until the day's done. So there's lots I learned. I wish I could tell you more, but it's a little bit of a blur now.
That's so wonderful to hear all of that. And it sounds like it was such a great experience. And I hope that you really get to kind of sit back and enjoy the experience of having all of the episodes come out week after week and watching it with your family. Thank you so much, Jana.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a really fun chat. And I hope everybody's going to enjoy the show. It's really joyful and full of woman empowerment, girl power. And I think everybody will really enjoy these monsters.